Hello students, you have already studied three lessons, that is periodic table and periodic property, chemical bonding, analytical chemistry, and this is fourth lesson. However, it is according to syllabus your third lesson. Fourth lesson is already covered during the properties of alkalis or bases. The last topic of third lesson is properties of salt. This is your last topic of third lesson. With this topic, you have completed 4 lessons, and just after this lesson, you will start 5th lesson, that is whole concept and its document. So, complete this topic. This is general property of salts. Salts are ionic compounds formed by complete or partial neutralization of acid by a base or vice versa. Some important properties of salts are nature. Salts are electrolytic or ionic compound. Most of them are crystalline in nature. They possess high melting and high boiling point and are non-volatile in nature. They conduct electricity in their molten state and in their aqueous solutions. This is the nature of salt. Means, in case of salt, their constituent particles are ions. Means cation and anion are the constituent particle of salt. That's why they are ionic in nature or electrovalent compounds. All the electrovalent compounds in solid state cannot conduct electricity because their ions are tightly held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction. So salts cannot conduct electricity in solid state. However, in molten state or in aqueous solution, their ion become free to move. That's why they act as a good conductor of electricity in molten state or in aqueous solution. Since they are hard and solid substances, they cannot volatilize, means they are non-volatile in nature. Next property is solubility in water. Salts may be soluble in water or sparingly soluble in water or insoluble in water. Salts of sodium, potassium, ammonium means sodium, potassium, ammonium salts, their nitrates, nitrites and bicarbonates. These are soluble in water except sodium bicarbonate, which is less soluble in water, that is sparingly soluble in water. Means all the salts of sodium, potassium and ammonium, nitrates, sulfides and bicarbonates, these are soluble in water, completely soluble in water except sodium bicarbonate, which is sparingly soluble in water or less soluble in water. Carbonates of sodium, potassium and ammonium means ammonium carbonate, sodium carbonate, potassium carbonate are soluble in water, and all other carbonates are insoluble in water. Chlorides, all the chlorides are generally soluble in water, but lead chloride is insoluble in cold water but soluble in hot water. This is very important. Chloride, PbCl2, this is insoluble in cold water but soluble in hot water. AgCl and Ag2Cl2 are insoluble in water. Hydroxides, which are strong alkali or weak alkali, NaOH, KOH, NH4OH, these are completely soluble in water except calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide, out of these, calcium hydroxide is spherically soluble in water, and all other hydroxides are insoluble in water. All other insoluble in water. Oxides of sodium and potassium are soluble in water, remaining all other insoluble in water. For example, magnesium oxide is insoluble in water, barium oxide is insoluble in water, iron oxide is insoluble in water. These are other oxides except sodium and potassium oxides are insoluble in water. Just like oxides, hydroxides are only NaOH, KOH and NH4OH are soluble. CaOH twice is spherically soluble. Hydroxides are all other compounds like Fe, OH thrice, Air, OH thrice, etc. These are insoluble in water. Chlorides, except these chlorides, HgCl, AgCl, Hg2Cl2 and PbCl2, all the chlorides are soluble in water. Carbonates, only sodium, potassium and ammonium carbonates are soluble in water, remaining carbonates are insoluble in water. For example, CaCO3, which is not soluble in water. MgCO3, not soluble in water. All other carbonates except these carbonates are insoluble in water. Next, sulfides. Sulfides are sodium, potassium, ammonium. Sulfides of sodium, potassium, ammonium. Sulfates of sodium, potassium, ammonium, and phosphates of sodium, potassium and ammonium. Only the sulfide, sodium, potassium and ammonium, sulfide, sulfate and phosphate are soluble in water. Rest of all the sulfide, sulfate and phosphates are insoluble in water. For example, FeS, iron sulfide, this is insoluble in water. Calcium sulfide, insoluble in water. Lead sulfide, insoluble in water. Except these sulfide, all other sulfides are insoluble in water. Sulfides, except sodium, potassium and ammonium, insoluble in water. Hence, sulfide of calcium sulfide, insoluble in water. Barium sulfide, this is insoluble in water. Iron sulfide, this is insoluble in water. Means sulfides except sodium, potassium and ammonium are insoluble in water. They are not soluble in water. Just like sulfide and sulfides, sulfates are insoluble in water except sodium, potassium and ammonium. Means calcium sulfate CaSO4 is insoluble in water. BaSO4 insoluble in water. PbSO4 insoluble in water. They are not soluble in water. Only sulfates of sodium, potassium and ammonium are soluble in water. Just like sulfate, phosphates of sodium, potassium and ammonium are soluble in water. Rest of the phosphates are insoluble in water. For example, FePO4, this is iron phosphate, which is insoluble in water. Calcium phosphate, Ca3PO4 twice, this is insoluble in water. Soluble and insoluble salts or sparingly soluble salt means if 1 gram of the salt can dissolve in 100 grams of water, then it is called soluble salt. This is the meaning of soluble salt. Means soluble salt means it's 1 gram completely dissolves in 100 grams of water. and sparingly soluble salt 0.1 gram. 0.1 gram salt is soluble in water, means 100 grams of water, then it is called sparingly soluble salt. If the amount is less than 0.1 gram, then it is called insoluble salt. This is the meaning of soluble and insoluble salt. Now come to the next property of salt. This is efflorescence. Efflorescence is the phenomenon by which a hydrated salt loses their water of crystallization when it is kept in open. For example, washing soda is a hydrated salt. Na2CO3.10H2O. This is washing soda. It contains 10 molecules of water of crystallization. This molecule of water is known as water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. This is water of crystallization. And such a salt which contain water of crystallization called hydrated salt. So it is a hydrated salt. Since the number of water molecule, means water of crystallization is 10 molecule of water, that's why it is called decahydrated salt. Means sodium carbonate decahydrate is the chemical name of washing soda. When this salt is kept in open, Na2CO3.10H2O loses its water of crystallization, Na2CO3.H2O plus 9H2O. This phenomenon is called efflorescence. Efflorescence means loss of water of crystallization from hydrated salt when it is kept in open. This phenomenon is known as efflorescence. And this property of salt is exhibited by only those salt which contain water of crystallization. So this is the very simple rule to identify the salt exhibit the phenomenon of efflorescence or not. If the salt is hydrated, it shows the phenomenon of efflorescence. If the salt is anhydrous, it cannot show the phenomenon of efflorescence. So this is pentahydrated copper sulfate, decahydrated sodium carbonate, heptahydrated magnesium sulfate. It is also known as Epsom salt. Epsom salt. This is called Epsom salt. And decahydrated sodium sulfate is known as Glover salt. Glover salt. And this is washing soda. This is blue vitriol. This is called blue vitriol, copper sulfate, pentahydrate. This is called blue vitriol. Now the next property is deliquescence. Deliquescence is a phenomenon by which anhydrous salt absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and forms saturated solution in the absorbed water. For example, MgCl2 is a deliquescent substance because it absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and finally it dissolves in the water absorbed by MgCl2. NaCl2 means absorbed by them. So it is called deliquescent. All the deliquescent salts forms aqueous solution in absorbed water, and this phenomenon of the salt is known as deliquescence. So deliquescence is the phenomenon by which a salt absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and forms aqueous solution, means saturated solution in the absorbed moisture or absorbed water. This phenomenon is called deliquescence, and the substance which exhibits this phenomenon is called deliquescent salt. For example, ZnCl2 is a deliquescent salt, ferric chloride is a deliquescent salt, copper nitrate is a deliquescent salt. These are deliquescent salt and exhibit the phenomenon of deliquescence. Next third property of salt is hygroscopic property. This property is closely related to deliquescence, but the major difference between deliquescence and hygroscopic property is that in deliquescence, salt forms saturated solution with the absorbed water, but in hygroscopic substances, in this property, salt absorbs moisture, but it cannot form solution with absorbed moisture or absorbed water. So the hygroscopic substances absorb moisture from the atmosphere, but they do not form saturated solution or solution with absorbed moisture or absorbed water. This phenomenon is called hygroscopic, and the substances exhibit this phenomenon known as hygroscopic substances. They are also known as desiccating substances because of the use in desiccator. For example, anhydrous calcium chloride and silica gel, these are generally used in desiccator. So they are commonly known as desiccating substances. So hygroscopic substances are also known as desiccating substances. A very important property of the salt is hydrolysis. Since salts are formed by the complete or partial neutralization of acid by base or base by acid, so they again produces same acid and base when react with water. For example, ferric chloride is salt, FeCl3 is salt. When FeCl3 react with water, it again produces FeOH thrice and 3HCl. Means FeCl3 is formed by the complete neutralization of FeOH thrice and HCl. HCl is a strong acid, FeOH thrice is weak base, so the aqueous solution of ferric chloride becomes acidic in nature. In this case, this is a strong acid and this is weak base. So resulting solution is acidic in nature. Acidic in nature, and its pH is less than 7. Its pH is less than 7. If you take sodium carbonate, Na2CO3 plus H2O, means hydrolysis of sodium carbonate, it forms 2NaOH plus H2CO3. NaOH is strong alkali or strong base. This is weak acid. As a result, resulting solution becomes alkaline. Alkaline solution, hence its pH is greater than 7. pH of alkaline solution is greater than 7. It means when salt reacts with water, forms acidic solution or basic solution, or in some cases nature of solution depends on the strength of acid and base formed by the hydrolysis of salt. For example, ammonium acetate is a salt, CH3 COONH4. It is salt. It on hydrolysis gives CH3 COOH plus NH4OH. Both are weak electrolytes, weak acid, weak base. In this case, solution may be neutral. However, its nature depends on the strength of acids and base. So, in general, it is nearly neutral. Neutral solution and pH approximately equal to 7. It is approximately equal to 7. So, this is all about general properties of salts. Just after this lesson, you will study about mole concept and stoichiometry, which is 5th lesson of your syllabus. That's it. Thank you.